Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to Beardworks Podcast, episode 26. Gonna have to apologize for the last half of our last episode. We had some internet issues. I think it was on my end. It's a bit glitchy. It was a bit hard to cut up, but yeah. Hopefully it's fixed this week. Internet's always a bit of an issue with this podcast, but yeah. Scads, what's going on?
Hey man, yeah. Unfortunately, sorry guys for that little hiccup at the end. I think it was only like 2 or 3 minutes worth. And it wasn't anything very important. So I know a few people mentioned it to me, but they said they were more than happy with the episode. So that's always a bonus. But yeah, that's us on our end. We are literally living 250 kilometers apart. So that's the best we can do at the moment. We couldn't clean it up any better. But anyways, other than that, I'm doing well. I am still on the Star Wars bandwagon. I've been bitten severely. So I've just been watching Clone Wars and been playing Battlefront 2 since they got released for free download on PC. I've been playing it on PlayStation as well. So just, getting stuck into that kind of world again. But yeah, how have you been?
Oh, yeah, good. Bloody bit of a good week this week. That'll be our first topic. WandaVision.
Yeah.
Something new this week. Well, I forgot about it until a few days before it came out. But yeah, it's cool. It's interesting. It's very different.
Yeah, it's the first of many Marvel shows that will be coming out this year, I believe. With anticipation of, I think Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange both come out this year as well towards the back end of the year. So this is setting up, I believe, WandaVision is sort of setting up because it's already been confirmed that she'll be playing. Is it Elizabeth Olsen? Yeah,
Yep.
that's it. She'll be reprising her role as Wanda in Doctor Strange 2. So I think this is a bit of a build-up. So just to keep people interested, because I feel like there was a bit of I said this to you during the week, was that I've sort of gone off of Marvel a little bit now since Endgame, because I feel like Endgame was my favorite characters all accumulating for the final battle, and then they sort of like disperse, obviously, with spoilers. Obviously, if you haven't seen it, Tony Stark dies, Captain America sort of retires. So my favorite characters are sort of gone now. And not in saying that there are still interesting characters around, but it's strange because Vision's gone.
Yeah.
And this is all from what we've taken so far, is all in Wanda's mind.
Yeah, I think the title WandaVision is a bit misleading. I don't think it's Wanda and Vision. I think it's WandaVision. Like, because you see those. This is going to be spoilers for the show. If you don't want to.
First 2 episodes only, though,
Yeah.
because there's only 2 episodes out at this stage of recording.
Yeah. I don't think it's Wanda and Vision. I think it's WandaVision, like television. Because you see the snippets of her getting monitored through a monitor, through a TV. So I think it's her visions. That's what we're seeing. It's not Wanda and Vision. I think Vision's just a figment of her
Fragment.
imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I don't know what they're heading towards. I hope this is my wish theory. I hope this is how they bring the X-Men into it. I hope it's Magneto, her dad,
yeah.
researching into her.
I just don't know what to sort of take from it so far. Like from the first few episodes, for the first two, episodes, that's what we've got at the moment. You have that little bit at the end, how it seems like, she's being monitored and all that kind of stuff, and who's doing this to you and all that. But it's really strange because, as far as we know, at the end of Endgame, she was pretty sound mind, if you know what I mean. Like, she lost vision, in Infinity War, but she got erased, didn't she? Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, in her mind, she's only been back for a few weeks or something like that at the end of Endgame. So she's still coming to terms of having lost vision in the previous film. So it'd be really interesting to see what happens, because there was talk about, obviously, in with the whole Infinity Saga kind of thing, there was talks about characters returning, like that Thanos could bring them back from the dead using the Infinity Stones. That didn't end up happening. So I can't see Vision returning in any way, shape or form in the future. Obviously, it's only in this kind of mindset where Wanda is probably, she's either tested on, or something might have happened, and her mind would have split, and now she's just living in her own reality, but in a like controlled environment, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, because she's super powerful. I don't know. Maybe someone could see the writing on the wall. They knew she was going to freak out eventually, so they've put her in a coma or something, and they're just letting her live out fantasies in her head just to keep her from destroying the world. I don't know if you've read House of M, but she goes mental and rewrites the entire Earth.
Yeah.
So,
no, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into House of M much, but I know it's a very popular little run. But let's just take it back to the episode and what we liked about them, both 1 and 2. I'll start off just saying I don't mind the setting. Like I said, I'm not on the Marvel hype train at the moment, but television's television, so anything to watch more content's fine. But I didn't mind it because I've always liked Wanda as in the Marvel
Yeah,
cinematic universe.
which is
I
awesome.
think she's a really cool character. She's powerful. But this shows a different side of her. And it's really fun, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, I love the little jokes they sprinkle throughout. You're like in the first 5 minutes, she breaks a plate on Vision's head, and she like looks at the camera. Oh, my husband's indestructible head. Like that's just a joke at Infinity War because Thanos pulls the gem out of his forehead.
Yeah.
Like it's so good.
And there's obviously little bits and pieces throughout, like where you can like from that first episode, there is plenty of times where she sort of like takes away and breaks the fourth wall, sort of kind of thing. I shouldn't say fourth wall. It's more she acts all strange, and it's sort of like it's a simulation. Something keeps going wrong, it keeps repeating, sort of like the Matrix, I guess. And she picks up on it, and then all of a sudden, like when Vision's boss is, or Viz is what he's called, which I don't mind the shortened name. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
His boss is choking, and he goes, "Vision, save him!" and like pulls a bloody piece of meat in him, and it's like, "All right, guys, thanks for having us. No worries," and off they go. So you can just tell that Wanda is buying into this, but then picking up on these bits and pieces that's not right. And then, like when they're talking about their past and their history, they're like, "Oh, we've moved from," and they couldn't think. And then they're like, "We got married. We're married, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah." And they couldn't work out their story.
Yeah, it's almost like she's in this dream world forcefully, and like the bits where she like breaks it a little bit is like her mind is trying to break free, but then she gets pulled back in. It's like it's very hard to explain if you haven't watched it, but when you watch it, you're like, oh, there's something darker going on here, something real hectic going on.
Yeah, and I guess if you actually just enjoy like these random, not so, it's all going to be internet connected, like all the Marvel movies and TV shows are. But at these first two episodes, it's more like an individual episode where something happens and yada yada yada. Like episode two, I really enjoyed because like they're doing the magician kind of thing,
Yep.
and Vision's like breaking reality by doing things that people don't normally see, and they're trying to think of it because obviously there's this conspiracy that someone inside their community thinks there's something wrong with Vision and Wanda, so she's trying to catch him out, and then so Wanda's trying to hide Vision because he's drunk and he's doing like these magic tricks and floating and stuff, and people are like, how is he doing this? And Wanda's like alternate reality kind of thing to make things look like it's all part of smoke and mirrors kind of thing.
Yeah, that was heaps funny. How she just like makes the strings appear and like they're doing super crazy magic and superhuman abilities, but everyone thinks it's bullshit. It's so good.
Yeah. So that was like I said, I watched the first two episodes back to back. I didn't mind it. I was able to watch it, but I know went back and watched the sneak peek trailers and stuff like that, and I know how it's going to end up. Like it looks like there's going to be a final, like a big battle at the end of it or something like
Yeah,
that.
surely.
So there is something going on, and then there's even like FBI agents towards the end. But every episode is like a different change in era of like history.
Yeah, so we've
Like
had
it's
50s and 60s so far, for what I could gather.
Yeah, like it was really old. I really like that first episode. Like I like the old clothing because I like the curly hair. Like she looked pretty decent in that shot.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I do like, and they are moving with the time. So I think the next episode, because it's just gone to color now, so it's obviously
70s.
showing that. Pardon?
I reckon it's gonna be the 70s the next one when colour started coming in.
Yeah, so they've obviously now started to color, and she's pregnant, and she has like this straight hair, which is very 70s. Like um, so yeah, it's really interesting. I am interested to see what they release. If it's going to be one episode at a week from now on a Friday, or if it's going to be two or something like that. I'm going to guess it's probably going to be one, sort of like the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I don't know. With her being pregnant, I wonder if they're going to bring her kids from the comics in, like Wiccan and Speed. Like I
Mm.
just had to Google their names, but yeah, because you know her like twin brother had the super speed, and I think one of her kids has that.
It'd be really interesting if they bring back Quicksilver, like for a cameo.
Imagine
Um,
if like her kid, like that's her way of dealing with her brother's loss. Like she has the kid in this reality, and it's like the same as her brother. Like
yeah, that makes sense.
I got no idea, man. But I'm just googled it, and like there's all these articles. WandaVision set up the next Avengers. Her kids will be the next. Yeah, like it's all
Yeah,
speculation, but
that's the one thing. Like now, moving on to the next big slated films for Marvel, is that obviously with the passing of Chadwick Boseman about with Black Panther and stuff like that, what's going to happen with that kind of storyline? Because I'm just not sure how they're going to do it. Because obviously they said that they're not going to recast him, which is fine. That's just showing respect to his character and what he built as the Black Panther. I wouldn't mind seeing Killmonger come back and sort of like, because he could have survived that last battle, even though he chose not to live. You know what I mean?
yeah, I don't know. I reckon it's going to be his sister, and it's just going to be not as good. They're just going to be clutching at strings, or like the whole movie's going to be sad, remembering him. I don't really know. because they can't make any more Black Panthers because Killmonger
They
torched,
destroyed it.
yeah, torched all the plants. But oh,
It'd be interesting to see like what they do with that kind of side of the story because, like I said, they've destroyed everything. Are they going to make a Black? So is Black Panther 2 still slated? I think they're still
yeah,
going to film it
it's on the way. Yeah,
because they could do a thing where they just don't make a Black Panther 2 and they just have Shuri rock up as Black Panther in one of the Avengers films. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's up. Obviously, Marvel have something up their sleeve. Hopefully, but yeah, obviously they didn't know about his situation, which is his private situation, which is fine. So they were sort of blindsided as well to think, what they could do next as going forward with that character. But that's one thing. Spider-Man comes out and Doctor Strange, like I said, this year, which I'm really keen for Doctor Strange. Apparently, that's meant to be the first proper Marvel horror movie.
yeah.
Um,
Legit, the top three for me movies this year is Mortal Kombat, Doctor Strange, and the Obi-Wan series.
yeah, I mean, like I said, we've spoken about Star Wars, and we will speak about it again shortly. But yeah, there's some decent films coming out this year. So it should make good viewing, and it'll be like a bit of a teaser to see what they're going to do with the next Avenger films, and to see where they go next. Because yeah, I don't know, like how long do you keep dragging this out for? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. They had
Because
such the good arc with Thanos, and there's a million good comic arcs, but like, are we going to wait another 10 years for a Thanos movie? No.
that's what I mean. Like Iron Man and well, the Incredible Hulk and Iron Man came out within I think 12 months of each other, but Iron Man was in 2008. That was like the first. That was the beginning
MCU, yeah.
um of the MCU, like proper overarching story. So where do we? That was over 10 years ago. That's crazy to think. So how long do they keep doing comic book films for now? Obviously, DC have been spreading it out over years now. They don't bring out one every second year. They just they'll bring out a big film or it might be a remake or something like that. Like Batman's a good good situation for that. But yeah, I'm just really interested to see where they go with Marvel from here on out because how far do you keep going? Like when do you stop? And then they might reboot it in 10 years' time and remake the Marvel movies, the Avengers movies. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. They should just, I don't know. They just got to choose another good arc. If they can hook us with like a really, really like engaging arc and a villain, I think it'd be good. Like maybe some Galactus shit. I don't know. Secret Invasion's a bit meh.
I just keep thinking right now, like the era. I mean, there's been superhero movies come out over over different decades and different eras, but the era that we've grown up in now over the last 10 to 15 years has been the superhero era. If you think what I mean with films,
Yeah, superheroes
like
and zombies.
oversaturated with. Not saying it's such a bad thing, but we've just got so much in hero, kind of like that kind of world of things with movies. So when does it eventually stop and they reset again?
When the
Because
money stops, which it never will.
yeah, these days it won't, and that's I just don't understand because I kept thinking to myself, Endgame was such a good final film.
Yeah.
They could have just said, all right, all the characters went off to do their own thing. Yes, this MCU universe continued, but it's just not going to be recorded. If that's what I mean. No more movies. They could do TV shows and stuff, but yeah, I'm just sort of thinking to myself, Endgame was such a long time coming, and it came, and we enjoyed it, and we loved it. I was sort of burnt out at the end of that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it definitely was the long haul, and it was like still when I saw all the Avengers come in at the end of Endgame, still one of the best things I've ever seen in the cinema.
Yep.
But like, yeah, what's
And that's one thing I was going to talk about with DC as well. They had the Justice League come out, which was a bit of a drop. It
oh
was
yeah,
it was terrible. And now they're bringing out the Snyder Cut. Now the Snyder Cut's coming out this year, I think.
it won't save it. I can promise you.
It won't save it. It'll be something different. It might be something we like, but it's hard to save a film. You can't change all this. There's so many different shots. Apparently, they've added to it, but
Well,
there's
it's
still the
four
main
hours
story is still
long.
the same.
It's apparently it's 4 hours long, and it's 80% new shots we've never seen.
Oh gosh,
So they've scrapped the whole movie pretty well.
well, hopefully, I don't know. We'll wait and see, I guess. But the thing is, that film, the Justice League, came out years and years ago. Like I can remember watching that in the theaters. Oh, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel because they're just sort of like because with Wonder Woman, like they sort of said they're rebooting the universe, but they're going to keep Wonder Woman and the Flash, and I don't know. And obviously Ben Affleck
Oh,
walked out,
you
so
seen their
DC's
Wonder
all over the
Woman?
place.
You seen
No,
their
I
Wonder
haven't.
Woman?
I know you've seen it.
It's absolute rat shit, dude. I could edit a better movie than that. The graphics are fucking disgusting.
Yeah, well, I guess when I eventually watch it, we can pick it apart. But yeah, I've heard not that great stories about it, which is a shame because I think Gal Gadot is a pretty good Wonder Woman. So
Oh yeah,
I didn't mind the
Pedro
first one.
Pascal's in it. It's just You should just wait, just YouTube the running scenes, man. She's like floating, hovering. It looks vile.
Yeah. But anyways, that's our little talk about the Marvel universe at the moment. Like I said, we will keep touching on WandaVision as it comes along, and then there'll be other shows that are coming out this year that we might touch on as well. We might not go in depth with it, but this is the beginning of the new era of Marvel on television, I believe, going with the TV shows rather than the movies. So, but let's talk about something that big that happened last week, sorry, and that was Lucasfilms getting its hand back in the pot for creating Star Wars video games.
Oh,
This
dude,
is huge.
it's gonna be mental, man. Knights of the Old Republic 3, Pod Racing 2, like whole box of frogs, man. We get anything now.
I'm so keen to see what they do because there was talks about the voice actors that played the Iden Versio and a few of the other characters in Battlefront 2,
Yep.
the like mini campaign, that they've come back and started doing some recordings, but there was no official announcement. It's just they were just people saw them around the place. So there could be Battlefront 3 with them reprising their roles and a different kind of story as well. I mean, Battlefront is not a bad game. It started off badly because of the microtransactions, but now you play it. Like I said, the player base has dropped a fair bit. But like I said at the start of this recording, that they've actually brought out it being free on Origin. Sorry, Epic Games. Was it Origin? I can't remember.
That's Epic, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's come out now on you can download it for free, and so the player base has just spiked like crazy. There's people loving it, and I even jumped on PS4, and there's people playing it. I couldn't find a game 2 weeks ago. Now everyone's playing again, so I'm enjoying it. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what they do with if they were to go. I think Battlefront 3 will come. I think that's a given. I reckon.
Oh yeah, Battlefront's like a fan favorite, man. It's always going to be around. It's like COD. I just hope they don't pump them out every year like COD.
No, I think I don't know. I'm really keen to see what they do with that, but yeah, the one thing that has been confirmed so far, and there are going to be more games confirmed throughout this year, like of who's looking after it, who's developing it. Not saying the titles and like that, but there is currently in development or in the very start of the process of development is an open world game by Ubisoft Massive,
Yeah.
Star Wars game. So, like we both speculate they could be Knights of the Old Republic or Star Wars. I reckon it's gonna be Knights of. I think yeah, Code 3.
But do you reckon it'll be 3, or do you reckon they're going to soft boot the universe again? It'll just be like just a title with no number. Because the old ones aren't canon anymore. They don't exist in Disney's eyes.
Yeah, well, I think Dave Filoni's slowly introducing that stuff again. Obviously, with Revan having like a Sith group, a Sith battalion in Rise of Skywalker. That was like they named the squad Revan after him, obviously. So they made him canon.
But like that Lucas Games trailer, I know they're advertising the mobile game at the start, but they had Revan center stage, and they know exactly what they did.
well, that's what I mean. I think that's setting up. I think that some of the films that will be coming out in the near future will be you take it back to the Old Republic, and there'll be like a Revan kind of thing. If I was Disney, I'd be doing it in a different kind of path. I would tell an Old Republic story with Revan in that universe, but not like the center stage, because then you keep people around for longer. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one bringing
Because
Revan in because he's such like iconic.
I mean, that's the thing. Imagine if they created an original story with new characters, not like complete, like they're just in the same universe, but they have their story doesn't intertwine too much with Revan's, and have it like Revan's taken the battle to Mandalore, and you're like, and then you hear the side story about Revan like defeating is it Mandalore the Great or something like that.
Oh, dude, Revan's hectic. He's done so much.
But I mean, that's another thing we were talking about. We're talking about video games right now, so let's go back to the video games. But yeah, that Lucasfilm trailer did show Revan, so I reckon that is a throat. They're going to say, "All right, guys, you've got the Knights of the Republic coming back," or a version of that.
Well, because the first Knights of the Old Republic game starts off with Malak at the start, and that's Malak is Revan's apprentice. Like this is the first Knights of the Old Republic is after Revan's dead. So
Yeah,
like they could even go back even further and like you play Revan's like Inquisition.
yeah. I mean, Revan's story is like it's bounces around so much. I reckon if they were to create a video game, it's going to be tough because I think they really want to make a movie about it too. So, do you show all the content in a video game, or do you make make a trilogy of movies about Revan? Do you know what I mean?
They should do it like Fallen Order. You play the whole game and Revan shows up like Vader and just bitches you right at the end. Imagine that.
I'm just really interested to see. Obviously, we're going to get a Jedi Fallen Order too.
Yep.
And we've speculated some kind of titles that would be funny to throw up there. Um, it'd be really interesting. I think they're trying to set Cal up to come into live action as well. I
Oh,
mean, they'd
why
be
wouldn't
crazy
they,
not
man? Because
to.
he's a good actor.
Like they've got all these chip pieces ready to go, and they can just throw them out there, and they can interlock them and join them together. And Cal is a massive part. Not a lot of people, not everyone loved Fallen Jedi Order, or Jedi Fallen Order.
I
Sorry.
loved it, man. That was one of my favorite games of that year.
Yeah, no, I mean I loved it too, and I'm playing it again. But I'm just saying that I think people aren't heaps. They're not too bothered by it. Whereas we'd love to see him in live action because I think he's just a really cool part of the story over the whole thing. Because his story wasn't as massive as the main Skywalker saga. But then you still find out he was left to try and find younglings and let the Force show him to where they are. So obviously we spoke about this that he'd be in his 40s in the Mandalorian, so
Yep.
he might rock up. But one of the characters I'd love to see be involved in a video game would be Ahsoka,
Oh, imagine a
because
Ahsoka game. That'd be sick.
well, there was a talk about saying that they make a single player game and make it focus around Ahsoka. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Ahsoka's a really cool character and stuff like that, and she had a really cool character development over the Clone Wars story and now into the Mandalorian as well. But I think people would like to see other characters being used, I guess. But I'd love to see Ahsoka rock up in a game.
Oh yeah, 'cause she's tough, man. She's real tough.
Yeah. But the things, it's just endless possibilities. Like they can bring out so much stuff, and I think now that they've it's a shame that they didn't have all this stuff sorted prior to the sequels being released,
Oh I know, dude.
because it feels like obviously the sequels are there, okay, and like you said, you've sort of done 180 of them, and I've never been a massive fan. I love Star Wars. More Star Wars is always good, but it sort of frustrated me that the way they took the story and took it away from Luke and Leia and stuff like that. Obviously, they still had Ben Solo in there, which is their characters, their son, with Han and Leia, but it's still Luke was my favorite character growing up watching Star Wars when I was a young person. Even with Anakin, I loved Anakin's character in Obi-Wan and stuff like that. But Luke was like everything that was good. And then all of a sudden you see him rock up in the films and he just wasn't that anymore. So I think that if they had their time again, they'd change that up. And then obviously they can connect the dots with everything, with all the content that they're releasing in the next 2 years. Because that's how you win things over. You have a TV show that ties into bits and pieces, like has something to do within the movie, but then also there's a bridging part where you play that character in a video game, so it makes people want to play the video game too. You know what I mean?
That's why I think Cal is the perfect cameo in the Obi-Wan show. Timeline will fit. He'll look the same as the actor looks in real life right now, and it could set up Fallen Order 2. Imagine if, like, you see Cal in Obi-Wan show and it sets up, continue Cal's story in the game, or like,
Yeah.
because do you reckon in the Obi-Wan show we're going to get Inquisitors? Finally, live-action Inquisitors?
I think we have to, because I think there's going to be some kind of there'll be lightsaber battles, of course, and it can't just be Obi-Wan versing like
Vader.
well, Vader. It states that they hadn't seen each other since
Yeah.
then Revenge of the Sith. So obviously there's going to be some kind of visions that they see, and I think like it will have Obi-Wan having some kind of like traumatizing nightmares of like Hayden Christensen not playing Vader at the time, but as Anakin, and like seeing him turn to the dark side and him cutting him down and stuff like that. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens then. I think Vader will make his appearances, but they won't ever see face to face.
Do you reckon we're going to get the remake of the Clone Wars fight with Darth Maul live action, or do you reckon it's going to be different?
I reckon, I don't know, because that's such a quick fight, but it has so much meaning.
And no
and I
one's
think,
going to know that meaning unless you like watched all the Dave Filoni videos and read the books and shit.
and that's the thing. I'm not sure, because they could say you need to watch Rebels to finish off his story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people don't want to watch cartoons, quotation marks. But yeah, and I don't know, it's gonna be really interesting. And so that's what I mean. Like when they talk about they can tie all the stuff in and make people jump around all the content. So it's like, yeah, you want to find out what happens here. And then even if it doesn't have people play the video games, they're still gonna go on YouTube and look up stuff. So it gets people in the in that world, in the progressive kind of thing that they want to see all the Star Wars content. So I'm just really keen to see what they do with the video games, and obviously there are a massive amount of TV shows coming up as well. But there's one thing I want to talk about, because I've been obviously watching Clone Wars, and some of the best content, or a few of the best episodes that I watched recently, was the episode where the clone troopers are on, I forget the planet, but they are with Krell, and he's like sort of doing his own thing, Jedi Master Krell, and he turns his he turns the clones on against each other. Like he sends them into battle against each other. They don't know, and that was just one of the coolest storylines because Rex is an awesome character, and have him take center stage with like Fives, because I love Fives as well as an ARC trooper, and then even Dogma, like he was sort of like switching between the sides. So that's why I've been keep thinking to myself, I'm like, the one thing I'd love to see would be a live action film, but have like call it a Star Wars story, the 501st,
Oh, dude.
and have like, and you don't have to make it about that story. But then again, that is such a cool little story because it's only like 3 or 4 episodes, but you can turn that into a film. But you'd want to see, because how cool it would be to see a young live action Ahsoka and like and Hayden Christensen come back, but in the Clone Wars version of himself in
Oh, when
in that
Anakin
movie.
was a god.
Yeah, and but like the thing is, it's about the 501st, obviously, which is Anakin's battalion. But you can have like how it starts off. You know, they're all attacked. So it starts off with like Anakin running across the battlefield, wiping people out. I'm not sure if Ahsoka's there in that battle at the very start. I don't think she is, but you could put her there just because Ahsoka would be cool to see her as a young, when in her teenage years. And so have like a little battle, and then obviously Krell comes in and relieves Anakin, says, "All right, if you have to go back to the back to Coruscant now, I'll take over." And that's when it starts into like a really dark, and they have battles and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden it turns out, because technically Krell survived a mini Order 66 in that battle. Like he was surrounded and he was just like cutting people in half. 4 arms he's got. He's like General Grievous, but he's got 2 double-ended lightsabers and just cutting people, like cutting them to pieces.
Yeah, he's a maniac.
So I'd love to see that kind of film. That's just, to see more Star Wars content, because I think obviously it'd be hard to get, you might have to de-age the actor that plays the clones. Obviously it's Boba Fett. I forget his name now. But yeah, you have to de-age him, or you just recast, because the thing is they all look the same, but they all have like different features, obviously. So you can keep their helmets on most of the time in the movie. And then like the most emotional scenes is when they take their helmets off.
They should just deep fake the scenes and like just have mainly helmets. Because
Yeah.
we've seen with Mandalorian, you don't need a mask on to be emotional. Like you don't need
Oh
your
no.
mask off. I mean, like you can have
It's
your mask on.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about that last night while I was at work. I'm on night shift currently at the moment. I was just walking around doing stuff at work, and I kept thinking to myself, it'd be really cool to see a live action, like, a Star Wars story, the 501st. But then they could bring anything into it. Like, they could have a final battle. They're pushing to destroy this separatist base. And like, I know at the time of the Clone Wars, Ventress isn't with Count Dooku, but you could see Anakin and Ahsoka fight Ventress as a final battle, and like Rex and that taking out a massive battalion of droids.
Have you watched Rebels? Like all of it?
No. I'm watching Clone Wars then Rebels, and I know how good Rebels is. I've seen bits and pieces, so, and I think Rex returns in that, doesn't he? He's older.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, this is mini spoiler. It's not really any of the story, but it's a cool scene. Ahsoka and Kanan Jarrus and the crew, like Kanan Jarrus is like the Jedi Master in Rebels.
Yeah.
They find this like old, like beat up. It's like a Mad Max vehicle parting through the desert.
Yep.
And I think Ahsoka knows Rex and his mates are on it, but like they jump over the edge and say hello and all that. I think Ezra makes a joke about them all looking the same, but like they're all joking, and Kanan instantly pulls his lightsaber out and arcs up to all of them because they're clones. Like he doesn't realize that Rex and his crew cut their chips out.
Yeah.
So he's about to kill them all, and like Ahsoka and that stop him because like, well, what would, if you're a Jedi, all your friends got killed by clones, you see a clone.
Yeah.
Like it's a wicked scene, man.
Now I'm really keen to get up to. I'm getting through Clone Wars at the moment. I think I'm at the end of season 4, so I think Darth Maul's about to come back into it.
That's where it gets really good.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that, and that's what I mean. Like, there's so much potential they can do, and the thing is, when they make those type of movies, like say if they were to make a 501st movie, the people are going to watch it, like, because the people that have watched all this Star Wars content will want to see this kind of stuff. Because like there's obviously so many other things going on around the place. It's just like Star Wars like we spoke about the last episode, is in such a good position right now, and it can go anywhere. Like literally, the galaxy is the limit.
Yeah, 100%, man. They can just, and they've got so much source material and characters to draw from. It's ridiculous.
And the good thing is the stuff that has been made legends. Dave Filoni is picking apart from that and taking the best bits of it and making it canon now. So, there's talk about. I saw an article today saying that could Luke Skywalker's wife make an appearance, like in The Mandalorian or something like that. I'm like, well, that sort of retcons it doesn't, because he doesn't have to mention it in the sequels, but if he has a wife, he has a child, and that that sort of changes things, I guess.
Yeah, who
But yeah,
knows?
but back to the video games. Awesome news. Lucasfilms have got their finger back in the jar. So it's gonna be awesome to see what they do. And I'm really keen to see what they do with this Ubisoft game. I think it's going to be some kind of create a character kind of story, which is nothing wrong with that. I'd love to see them go back to Star Wars 1313.
Well, they
Um,
have so much assets and environments and shit made that just never got used as sitting on a hard drive.
yeah, so there's huge potential, and I know you and I both came for it. But yeah, obviously,
I think,
just
I think the next big thing we've got the new High Republic comics. That's probably going to be the next thing we chat about Star Wars. That's the
well,
closest, I reckon.
there's something I think the first one's already out.
Yeah,
Um,
well, looks like I'm going comic shop tomorrow.
but apparently it's had a bit of a funny review from the get go, because this is what's happening at the moment in Disney, is that um and LucasArts, is that they're clashing at the moment.
Yeah,
And what it is that it's Dave Filoni's crew, and Dave Filoni's crew and sorry, what's his name? John Favreau's crew versus Kathleen Kennedy's crew. And because apparently what happened was that, do you see Star Wars Theory's reaction to like Luke Skywalker coming back, and he actually cried and teared up a fair bit,
yeah. I see
which a
the
lot
thumbnail. I never watched it though.
which a lot of people did, like this emotional connection to it. And what happened was, I think the voice actor of Kanan Jarrus, I think it was,
Yep.
or was it somebody else? No, it wasn't Kanan Jarrus. Voice actor. It was somebody else. But someone that's involved in with the High Republic books, comics, etc., came out and said that you shouldn't be putting this on social media. Emotional stuff is for you to be kept alone.
What?
And people were like, well, no, like this means so much more to people, because obviously, apparently on that side of the thing, there might have been a part of that whole thing with Ryan Johnson in The Last Jedi and stuff. So like people got to see that this Luke Skywalker they wanted to see, and that's how they got emotional. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the one we wanted to see, not the old,
Kooky Islander.
yeah, yeah. And so apparently, what happens in this new comic, in the first bit, there's a creature who's a Jedi, and he's only got one arm, but he's the same species as Voss, and he can actually, it's in canon that he can actually regrow limbs.
Yep.
And so they're saying that it's already started off on the wrong foot, because the character that they're using as one of their main characters is missing an arm, and he's a Jedi master, but yeah, his species can regrow their arms or their limbs.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man.
apparently people are kicking up a stink a bit and saying that if you're going to do something that's so rich with lore and stuff, do your research first.
Yeah, who knows? Who
But
bloody
yeah,
knows?
that's the two sides of the story at the moment. The thing is, if I was going to put my chips on someone's table, I think Kathleen Kennedy should retire and give everything over to John Favreau and Dave Filoni, because they are on the right track.
I think the public's gonna force that because
Yeah,
they love Filoni and Favreau, man.
they've done
Double
such a
F's,
good job.
unreal scenes. But yeah,
But yeah,
I think that wraps up episode 26.
yeah, we're trying to, like we said, I think we said earlier that we wanted, well, last episode, that we want to try and shorten up our episodes, just make them really nice snippet and a couple of topics, easy to follow. And yeah, that's what we're going to continue to do. So, first off, obviously, go follow us on our socials. Like I say, every other week, go subscribe to us on YouTube. So Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Like I said, on Instagram now, we're just putting bits and pieces up about each episode. I'm yet to do the last episode, so I'll get onto that. But yeah, just give us as much support as you can, because we really do appreciate it. It's been, we're coming into our 7th month now, so yeah, we're loving it though.
Yeah, just these bloody technical issues always seem to happen, but I don't know. The episodes come out.
We're working on a low budget, so
Oh yeah, and a bit more relaxed in season 2. I think like we're getting topics we're actually enjoying, not just forcing episodes.
yeah, 100%. But anyways, that's it from me, guys. Thanks for listening.
Deuces.